Hey there, as you can see by the title of this video, or down, I think it's down now because it used to be up, but now it's down. Just like this fucking movie. It's fucking down, down in the fucking pits of hell. That's where it fucking came from to torment me for the rest of my fucking living days. And that movie is Alien 3. Three dicks up your fucking ass. Coming acid that burns you up from the inside out. Leaves nothing but a charred, melted fucking corpse in its fucking wake. I hate, I hate, I hate Alien 3. And this video is gonna be all about me getting this shit off my chest because I can't fucking take it anymore, and I already ranted on Alien 3. I've done it many times. I've done rants with my friends, Matt and Effrey. I did a rant a long time ago on the fucking movie. But people who watch it lately are people who like Alien 3 and then give me shit about it because they didn't watch the whole fucking video. So I just wanted to make a little bit of a shorter, more to the point video describing to you all why I hate this fucking movie. And I actually wrote a lot of this shit down. I actually sat down and thought about this and I wrote stuff down. So I'm going to read off the reasons why I hate this movie. And if I come up with any others, I'll mention them. But right off the bat, before I get into the stuff that I wrote down, I just want to say if you like the movie, I have no problem with that. I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is some of the fans. Some of the fans, not all of them, because there's some fans of Alien 3 who are nice and respectful and have decent arguments to why they like the movie and why they think it's better, why they like it, why they think it's a good movie. The people who defend it by saying that it's a good sequel are full of shit. It's not a good sequel. There's no fucking way it can be a good sequel because it is a sequel to Aliens, and as a sequel to Aliens, it fucking sucks. Kill off Hicks and Newt, you do all that, you fuck over the franchise, Ripley dies at the end of the movie, and everybody is fucked. That's pretty much it. Alien 3, you get fucked. If you like aliens, you get fucked. If you like good movies, you get fucked. Well, at least to me anyway. I mean, that's my thoughts on it. I know there are people who like it, but to me, it's just you get fucked with three dicks up your fucking ass that are coming acid fucking cum that ends up incinerating your ass from the inside out, leaving nothing but a charred corpse in its wake. It's not a fun image. It's not a good image. Well, this movie doesn't have any good images to give you. I've actually heard people make this argument that Nick's. I was so pissed. I even said Nix. I said Nix instead of Hicks. I'm so pissed off with this fucking movie. God damn it! Ow! Fuck! Break my fucking hand talking about this fucking movie. Shit! Oh! Fuck! So anyway, Hicks and Newt. I've actually heard this argument. This guy's like, Hicks and Newt. Hicks and Newt, they had to die. Had to die? Really? They had to die? So you're telling me people making this argument are saying that basically defending the fact and saying I can't even believe this. I can't even believe that somebody would actually say that. They are saying that the little girl had to die? Why? Why? That's what most of the time I hear the arguments for the film. I'm like, why? Why did Hicks and Newt have to die? And then I hear this, oh, because Ripley plus sidekick never works. Huh. It worked in Aliens. Oh, it didn't work for you because you don't like aliens for some reason. And that proves my point. Most of the people, about 95, 90%, 80%, a very high percentage of people who like Alien 3 and defend it, the theatrical cut and the assembly cut, don't like aliens. And I've encountered these people on message boards. I've encountered these people in public. And this is the most of the time, whenever I ask them the question, do you like aliens? And they say no. And then I'm like, no wonder they like Alien 3. Because they don't like aliens. So it makes sense that they don't give a shit about what happens to Hicks and Newt. It makes sense that they don't give a shit of how they fuck up the integrity of aliens, because the ending doesn't mean anything anymore. The ending is still thrilling, it's still exciting, but it doesn't have the lasting impact that it should have had, because Alien 3 just says fuck it, Hicks and Newt die anyway, so it makes it so the struggle that Ripley had at the end was kind of pointless, but it's still a very entertaining movie, still exciting and still thrilling. It's still 10 times better than Alien 3. So, pretty much, here's what I wrote about Alien 3 and why I hate this movie. I really hate this fucking movie. And I wrote this stuff down to make it so it'd be a shorter video, so it'd be more short and to the point, so it wouldn't be so much back and forth all over the place. And it's still all over the place because it messes with my head, man. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly do a little recap of um, the backstory, real briefly. Actually, I'll get into that when I talk about, because I mentioned the backstory of the film and what could have been and what they should have done instead of what they actually did. But anyway, so I honestly think Alien 3 has become my most hated film. And not just because it sucks acid dripping xenomorph dick, because it destroyed the franchise, and to me it is one of the worst sequels ever made. And why? Well, because it could have easily been much better if the producers and 20th Century Fuckface had a clue about where the franchise was heading or actually gave a shit in the first place. It isn't all about Ripley, and never was, and if it was, folks, why is the franchise called Alien? It's not called Ripley. It's not called Ripley 3. It's not called Ripley's. Believe it or not, it's called Alien. It's called Aliens. It's called Alien 3. It's not called Ripley. So a lot of the defenses I hear for Alien 3 are it carries over the story. It's about Ripley. It's Ripley's story. And it's the same shit the producers are saying about the movie when they were working on a concept for Alien 3. In the same way they condemned William Gibson's script and a few other scripts that were a lot better than Vincent Ward's idea, which is a fucking wooden planet with a bunch of fucking monks on it, which is stupid. And even the producers realized that, but it was too fucking late. They already greenlit the script. They already hired the director, Vincent Ward. They already were spending thousands of dollars on sets. And then finally, after the fact, after they already hired him and after they already did all this kind of shit with this stupid idea, they're like, oh, that's a dumb idea. Oh, Vincent, you need to do something else with it. So Vincent quit, and then they didn't even use any of the sets that they spent thousands of fucking dollars on. This is the producers were clueless. They didn't have a clue. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And it absolutely showed in Alien 3. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They didn't know where to take this franchise. Although Dark Horse Comics had published some comics at the time called Aliens Book 1, and they I thought they did a great job continuing the franchise. They had Hicks and Newt, they were still alive, and they had all these different things. Of course, when Alien 3 comes out, they had to change everything. They changed the names of Hicks and Newt to Billy and some other guy, which I don't remember his last name. I don't remember the name they changed Hicks to, but I remember they changed Newt to Billy, and they did that because, well, that way it can still be canon with Alien 3. Even though Dark Horse's Aliens comics predated Alien 3. So anybody that says that Alien 3 is canon and Alien 3 and Aliens comics by Dark Horse are bullshit and they don't have any, they're worthless and useless and so forth, you know what? You are full of shit and you are bullshit because those comics were published before Alien 3 was even made. So there you go. I'm sorry. You are wrong. That's no longer just an opinion. You are wrong. You are dead wrong. Because No, it's not bullshit. And as a matter of fact, Alien 3 should have taken notes from what Dark Horse was already doing and the story that they were already telling, which was 10 times better than a wooden planet with a bunch of fucking monks on it. But no, they greenlit that. They didn't greenlit William Gibson's script, which had 8 firefights in it, 1 in zero gravity, humans turning into aliens, Bishop and Hicks were still alive. You had another character who was kind of a colonial marine. You had more marines kicking more alien ass, and for some reason that was a bad idea. I understand the budget was a constraint. Well, they could have updated, took some stuff out of the script, and would have made it work a little bit better. If you can't do the humans turning into aliens thing, okay, it's going to cost too much. Cut that out and just have 8 firefights, 1 in zero gravity, and 2 alien queens, and Hicks and Bishop kicking ass and taking names. That's better than Alien 3, where I got a bunch of fucking bald-headed prison bitches, rapists and murderers who I don't give a shit about, versus 1 alien. Wow. Versus 8 firefights, 1 in zero gravity versus 2 alien queens and hordes of aliens. I wonder which fucking movie, which idea sounds better to me. I would go with William Gibson's script, but David Giler said shit like, "Oh, it's too much like Aliens," so they didn't do that. So, that's just one of the many reasons why I fucking hate this movie. It's because it should have been way better than it was, and it had no reason for fucking the franchise. It had no reason for fucking it up, but they did it anyway. There really some good ideas that Alan Dean Foster, and I just read about this recently, was just added fuel to the fire. And Alan Dean Foster he wrote the novelization for Alien 3. He also wrote the novelizations for Alien and Aliens. And he was talking to David Giler and Walter Hill. I don't think Walter Hill produced this, but he was talking to David Giler and some other people were producing Alien 3. And he was saying, and he was telling him a really good idea that would have added a lot of much needed suspense to Alien 3. And a way to keep Newt alive. He said, well, when when their shuttle crashes on Fury 161, the prison planet, Newt's stasis pod, I think, I don't know if it's the right word or not that I'm using, it's cracked. So she's in a state of life or death now, and she has a certain amount of time to live unless they find the parts to fix the stasis pod. And I was like, so Ripley has to, in a race against time, while dealing with these rapists and murderers, has to find the parts and try to find a way to fix the stasis pod in order to keep Newt alive, and then all of a sudden, at the same time, trying to stop an alien. Oh, that sounds pretty suspenseful to me, and it gives me a reason to give a shit about what happens in the film, because for the most part, it's a bunch of rapists, murderers, and fucking boring assholes, people who don't give a shit about, and Charles is Dutton, who's cool, but then he dies anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But, and Newt, that way she doesn't die off screen, you don't see an autopsy scene, you don't see this bullshit, she's still alive, but she doesn't have to be in the film. Ripley's not carrying her around or doing that. It's just Newt is still a critical part of the film. That was a great idea by Alan Dean Foster. And what did David Giler said? No. David Giler wanted to kill the little girl instead, I guess. And wanted to kill the little girl instead of having this easy to do subplot that would have had Newt still alive, but would added a lot of suspense to the film that the film sorely needed. And nope. Would have even had an opportunity for spin-offs with Newt. Nope. Let's fuck the franchise over and kill it because Sigourney Weaver said so. The only bitch in this franchise is Sigourney Weaver. It's not the alien anymore. It's Sigourney Weaver. She's one of the big reasons why Alien 3 sucks so much, because she demanded that her character die in the end. And she demanded that she won't be using guns. So that's why we don't have any guns. Because she was anti-gun for some reason around the time that we were going to do Alien 3. In my opinion, the moment the Vincent Ward script and everything fell apart, Fox should have taken a step back and just stopped production and wrote another script, thought it through some more, and made sure they got it right. But no, they rushed it. They didn't give a shit. They just thought Ripley was enough, and she's the only thing that fucking mattered for some reason in the franchise, even though in Alien, she's not really the main character until the last half of the film. But whatever. They didn't learn from what Aliens that worked and made a ton of money, and they could have done another Aliens or another Aliens type film, and decided not to do that for some reason, even though Aliens is a huge hit critically and financially. But no, let's do this. Let's greenlight a script about a wooden fucking planet with a bunch of fucking monks, and that doesn't fucking work. So then they have to start from scratch and write the script on the set. Ugh. So they didn't have a fucking clue about where the franchise should go. Even the trailer. I said it was gonna be short. This is not gonna be short. I short my ass. There's no way. It's Alien 3. But even the trailer, the teaser trailer said on Earth, everyone will hear you scream or something like that. I'm like, on Earth? So aliens are coming to Earth? No, no, no. That meant theater. In your theater, everyone will hear you scream. You need to specify that. You should say on and just say this summer in the theater, everyone will hear you scream. It's not that hard. Why did you have to say on Earth? That's just a nitpick, but it's another example of the fucking incompetence of 20th century fuckface when it comes to when they were setting up this film, when they were working on it, when they were producing this shit. So all these better stories were thrown away in favor of a wooden planet with fucking monks, which is a stupid plot that was tossed in the fucking trash because it was fucking stupid. But like I said, not before thousands of dollars were wasted on building sets that were never fucking used. Vincent Ward quit, and then David Fincher was hired to direct his first film with no script and no direction to take it in. And the film looks like that. It looks like it's aimlessly wandering around. It doesn't have a direction. It even makes the lead Ripley unlikable. The taglines say the bitch is back. I'm like, which bitch? Which bitch is back? I don't know which one. She's unlikable, and why is she unlikable to me? Well, it's because after Newt dies and you have the autopsy scene, which is just fucking wrong, and other people say, well, oh, horror films are dark and people die. Yeah, I know that. I know that. Oh, it was really ballsy move to kill Hicks and Newt. I like that. You know what else is a ballsy move? To jump off a fucking cliff. That's a ballsy move too. But would you do it? Is it a good idea? No, it's not a good idea to jump off a fucking cliff. So, there's a lot of things that take balls to do, but it doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's something that's remotely decent or something that should have been done in the first place. Just because it's ballsy is not enough of a fucking reason to me to defend the fucking actions that this film took. Because I can't think of any other film when it comes to a sequel that gives a middle finger to the fucking audience that watched the film before it as Alien 3. So, David Fincher, he doesn't have a lot to work with. The producers are also fucking with him. This is his first film ever, so he doesn't have the acclaim and the respect that he has now. So even David Fincher has said in interviews that he hates this movie and hated the experience. It just, of course, sounded like it was an absolute horror show and a terrible film to be a part of, and for a reason, because Fox just wanted money. They just used the title as an excuse to get money, and they didn't think it through, and they just said, fuck it, Alien 3 is going to happen anyway, regardless or not if it's a good script. Regardless or not if we have any script. So, yeah, so David Fincher is hired to direct it with no script, no direction. Ripley's unlikable. Like I said, you have the autopsy scene with Newt, and then she just fucks some guy. And then she doesn't even have any emotion or at all, doesn't feel at all, doesn't show any grief at all for Hicks or Newt, and I'm just like, wow, what a bitch. So that's why I think she's unlikable, because she just doesn't give a shit, and it looks like it. And obviously Sigourney didn't give a shit because she didn't do the movie, agreed to do it until she went through some lawsuit, decided no guns, put the no guns policy in, said I'm gonna die, and also um, you better pay me a lot of money. And so she got paid a record amount of money for her role in this film. She did it for the fucking money. She didn't give a shit. If she did, she would have said, hey, let's not kill Hicks and Newt. But obviously she didn't care, so that makes her every much of a bitch as the alien. So anyway, like I said, it tells the fans of Aliens to fuck off and die. The special effects of the film also don't hold up very well, um, especially the rotoscoping and the CGI, which is fucking awful. It's fake as fuck. It's distracting. It looks like shit. And it doesn't matter what cut you see the film in, assembly or theatrical cut, the rotoscoping still looks like shit, and so does the CGI. The alien suit itself wasn't that bad, and there were some moments where it did look kind of cool, and there was some good decent gore. And if I'm gonna have to mention positives, I did like the Elliot Goldenthal score, part of it anyway. David Fincher, for the most part, he did a good job directing, but he had shit to work with. He was literally working with shit. So the film is still shit to me, but David Fincher, I'll give him a pass because he didn't have any power to do anything. He could have quit. He could have said no, but I could see why he stayed on the project because this is his first film, and it was Alien 3, and he just wanted to finish it. I don't blame him for that. But if it was me, I probably would have quit. And then maybe if I had quit, if Fincher had quit, then maybe Fox would have gotten the clue that maybe this film, maybe we should take a step back. But no, that's not what happened. They went ahead with no script. So, so yeah, this effects. Some of the effects are good, but some of it is really terrible, and some of the worst in the franchise, on par with the CGI, Aliens, and Alien Resurrection. Um, the idea is interesting. I mean, the idea of a prison planet has it's more interesting than a wooden planet with a bunch of monks. But the problem with the prison planet idea is that they make Ripley unlikable. They kill off Hicks and Newt. So now you have no connection to Aliens. The fans have no connection to the film that they really liked and enjoyed. And so they have no connection to the film. They have no reason to be interested in what's going on. So it makes most of the film boring and just there's no thrills, there's no suspense. The film just wanders aimlessly around. Because who do we have to root for? A bunch of rapists and murderers? Why would we want to root for them? Who gives a shit about the rapists and murderers? Nobody gives a shit. And the film could have easily had Hicks in there. Have him replace the Charles S. Dutton character. Would have made for a really good heroic moment where Ripley's gonna get raped by these guys, and then Hicks comes out of nowhere and beats the shit out of them, and then it's Hicks and Ripley trying to figure out a way to kill the alien with no weapons. That's more interesting than fucking bald ass convict prisoner number 1 or number 2 or number 20. Charles Dutton was good, but could have easily had Hicks play his character, and the film would have been stronger because of that. And I mean, would I still like the movie? Probably not, but I wouldn't hate it like I do because it would still try to continue the story. It would continue the franchise. It would try to tell. It wouldn't just stop the story and just abort it during the opening credits like Alien 3 does. It would have continued the story. It would have made it continue. It would actually try to finish it. It doesn't. Well, how does it finish it? It kills off the people. It kills off Hicks and Newt, and it kills off Ripley. But it doesn't really finish it. It's not definitive because there's still a fucking alien resurrection. So anyway, the execution of the film, though, I think failed. It fails on the F scale of fuck. because the idea, like, while it was interesting, they didn't execute it properly. Because you just had a bunch of prisoners and likable assholes and rapists and the bitch and Ripley, and I don't give a fuck about it. Anybody, for the most part. So the idea doesn't really hold any weight to me anymore. I don't care. There's no emotional connection here. The climax, as a result, because of all of these fucking mistakes, because of the failed execution of the film, is one of the most anticlimactic climaxes I've ever seen. Mainly because there was no one, like I said, that you give two shits about during everything, during this entire climax. So you don't care how it turns out. You don't care who dies. You don't give a shit. It really hurts the film. It just becomes even more boring and dull. It's just boring, dull, depressing, bleak, and it's just a movie that exists. It just exists. It doesn't seem like it has a reason to exist. It just exists because it doesn't have any connection with you, because you don't care about anybody. So you're just sitting watching Alien 3. You're just sitting there watching something, but you don't really care about what you're watching. So the climax, and even, and Charles is done. I liked him, but he dies, so my point still stands. And the way that they kill the alien is lame as fuck. The effect doesn't look very good nowadays. It looks very dated. It doesn't hold up well, and I mean, it looks stupid. It's stupid. I don't care. We were making this scene before T2, but it still looks like it's T2, but T2 did it better. T2's a better movie. I'd rather watch T2. It looks like the alien got covered in shit and then exploded. Great. It's perfect. Might as well just pour shit all over me and then I'll explode. I'd rather have hot molten lava poured on my fucking head than watch this movie again. That's how much I hate Alien 3. So the kill off the alien was just fucking lame, and then Ripley kills herself. Whoopty fucking do, because Sigourney Weaver said I must die in her contract. And it wasn't a definitive end of the franchise either, like I said, because Alien Resurrection was made. So that's a bunch of bullshit. And even if it was, that is a shitty way for Ripley to go out. She fought the alien tooth and nail in the first two films, only to fucking kill herself? What the fuck? If she wanted to kill herself, she would have done that before she went back to the alien planet in Aliens. And yeah, she did it to stop Weyland-Yutani from getting the alien for the weapons program. I get that. But to me, it still doesn't excuse the shitty writing of where and how the fuck the alien queen impregnated her in the first place. How? How did that happen? The alien queen's egg sac was blown apart, and people said she doesn't need the egg sac to lay eggs. How do you know that? What? Did you read it in a comic? Did you see it in a film that came out after Alien 3? Because I don't remember seeing that explained at all. I don't think she can lay an egg without the sac. So the sac was blown to shit, so she's not laying a fucking egg in the. She's not laying an egg in. It's not fucking happening. So where the fuck did it happen? So the reasons why Hicks and Newt die is fucking stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason why Ripley has a queen facehugger, like a queen alien impregnated her, makes no sense either. And the film does not in any way stand on its own 2 feet. Why? Because it can't. Alien 3 isn't a spin-off. It isn't a reboot of Alien. It's a sequel to Aliens, and because of that, it is incapable of standing out on its own. It can't. And even if it was a standalone flick, it would still suck. And both versions suck as a sequel too, theatrical and the assembly cut, because both versions have had the same fatal flaws in them. The assembly cut is just longer, and it has a couple interesting scenes in it. I don't get the praise for the assembly cut either. I really don't. What is added to the film doesn't come close to saving the movie, or saving the franchise, or like, to me, honestly, having a reason to exist. So Yeah, the assembly cut. People are saying it's so much better. It's so much better than the theatrical cut. It's great. It's underrated. It's undervalued. The assembly cut is great. It's a great movie. I don't get it. You can love it all you want to, but I don't understand because it still kills off Hicks and Newt in the beginning and the opening credits. It just adds a few new scenes. If anything, it just makes this boring, lame movie even longer and even more boring. But it has a little bit of interesting scenes, like the stuff with the dragon scenes, with this guy, whatever, and the airlock stuff, and there's some interesting sort of stuff. But it doesn't save the movie. It's like saying Halloween 6, the producer's cut, is some under, and people do that. It's underrated. It's great. It makes the Halloween 6 theatrical cut look like chopped liver. No, they both still suck. They're both shit. One just smells worse than the other. They're still shit. They still stink. That's just how That's just how I view it anyway. And so, and despite all of these obvious red flags that I have mentioned for, what is it, almost 30, yeah, 30 minutes, it, in these glaring issues that you could drive, and huge giant fucking issues that you could fly a fucking plane through, it has a huge cult fan base who defend it to this day with, in my opinion, at least some of the fan bases, at least it has a huge cult fan base, which to each their own, but some of these fans, they defend it with absolutely moronic arguments that they pull out of their ass. I'm not sugarcoating it here because they are full of shit. And here's why. Here's what a lot of their arguments are. Alien 3 is closer to the spirit of Alien than Aliens. Aliens, yes, is more of an action horror film. But it still is scary. It's still intense when it needs to be. It's still got likable characters. It's still a lot of fun. Um, Alien 3, to me, is not at all close to the spirit of Alien. And if you think it is, watch Alien again. And really think about it. Really think about the idea that Alien 3 is close to the spirit of Alien. The only thing it's close about is one alien and a bunch of people. That's really, honestly, as close as I can get. The whole, and then there were none type thing, okay. But other than that, Alien is not nearly as bleak, dark, or depressing, and hopeless as Alien 3 is. Alien has likable characters that you actually give a shit about what happens to them. Dallas Lambert, um, of course, you have Dallas Lambert, you have Harry Dean Stanton's character, which, I don't remember, I've seen, Kane, played by, John Hurt. You have Ripley. You also have Yavakoto. You like those characters. They're fun. They have some and fun. That's another reason. That's another thing that Alien 3 isn't. Alien 3 isn't fun. Alien had some fun with itself. It had some moments. The camaraderie with the crew. What do we have here? A bunch of rapists and murderers you don't give a fuck about. Great. And Alien actually had a sense of humor. Alien 3, for the most part, doesn't. It has like one scene, but that's it. And then some people just said Ripley plus sidekick. I mentioned this earlier in the video. Never works. First off, don't use the term never because if it's your opinion, but saying never is it's no longer to, you're just trying to say that it's a fact that no, never, don't use that word. And you should in their opinion it doesn't. But a lot of people who love Aliens disagree wholeheartedly with this. Aliens is not a bad movie. So it has some gung-ho badass Marines in it. How is this a bad thing? Gung-ho badass Marines versus boring-ass rapists and murderers. Hmm. Which one is better? I don't know. It's really difficult. It's a hard choice. No, it fucking isn't. I don't understand why it is for some people. Badass gung-ho Marines versus rapists and murderers. Badass gung-ho Marines are better 99.9% of the goddamn time, and I don't think there's any fucking argument to the contrary. If you think rapists and murderers are better than badass Colon Marines, then you think rapists and murderers and convicts are better than our armed forces. That is fucking stupid. I don't care who you are. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't get it, but go ahead, feel that way, but it still doesn't change the fact that it doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. That's why I don't understand, because it doesn't make any fucking sense why anybody would think that way. Gung-ho badass Marines versus rapists and murderers. I'm gonna choose the rapists and murderers. And then you're gonna get raped and murdered. Good for you. Maybe you'll meet Nipple H in a back bathroom somewhere, and he'll fuck you up the ass and then give you a pedigree till you come. Ugh. Anyway, then people said like it's Ripley's franchise, it's Ripley's story. Like I said, mentioned earlier, Alien wasn't even Ripley's film until the last half of the movie. For the most part, she was just one of the crew members. And then it wasn't always her journey from the beginning. Like I said, it was a group of Dallas had more screen time at certain moments. Tom Skerritt. It was a group effort. It wasn't just Ripley. And even Aliens wasn't just Ripley's journey. It was Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop, and all these other Colonial Marines' journey. But wait a second. If you think it's just always been Ripley's journey and just her sole alone journey, it's all been about her from the beginning and nobody else, then obviously you don't like Aliens. Or you don't like Alien. I don't know how you can honestly say that shit. It's always been her journey and her journey alone. That doesn't make any sense. So, you wonder why I hate Alien 3? This is what some of the fans come up with to defend the movie. Ugh. And how is it just Ripley? As somebody else just said, it's Ripley versus the Alien in Alien 3. It's more personal. How? How in the fuck is that the case? She has a bunch of convicts who help her throughout the movie. And if anything, she goes toe-to-toe with the Alien Queen more than she goes toe-to-toe with the Alien in Alien 3. Getting impregnated with the Alien Queen is not fighting the alien face-to-face. It doesn't make it any more personal than when she shot the alien out of the airlock in Alien and blew away the Alien Queen's nest and shot her out of an airlock in Aliens. And people say, oh, yeah, Ripley put Sidekick sucks because Alien Resurrection sucks. That's some great logic you got there. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Alien Resurrection did suck. But it wasn't because she had a bunch of sidekicks. It's because it was just a shitty movie. It had bad writing. They borrowed elements from the William Gibson script, but didn't even do it the same justice William Gibson did. It was just a bad film. It didn't matter that she had a bunch of sidekicks. It was just a bad movie. And Alien 3 fucked up the franchise, so they brought back Ripley in a weird-ass way where she wasn't even Ripley. She was half alien and shit. You had the fucking chupacabra-looking motherfucker, Mommy! Ah! And sucked out of an airline. That's a whole other story about Alien Resurrection. That movie sucked. It was every bit as bad as Alien 3. But it's but it's bad in many ways because of Alien 3. Alien 3 sucked so much and destroyed the franchise and fucked it up beyond all recognition so much that any sequel had to take desperate measures and pull shit out of its ass in order to keep the franchise going. So, and the logic that Ripley puts sidekicks equals a shitty movie means, by that logic, Alien sucks. And it doesn't. If you think it does, fine, I guess, but that doesn't mean it sucks. And like I said, it's because I hate that Alien 3 and think it's an absolutely fucking terrible movie. Doesn't mean it really is. It doesn't. But this is my opinion, and I still think it fucking sucks. I hate Alien 3, and I will continue to hate Alien 3, no matter what anybody says, no matter what people say to defend it or whatever. I will still hate this movie, just like people who like Alien 3 will still love it, regardless of what I do in this video or what I say. I'm not trying to convince people that they should not like Alien 3. That's not the case. I'm just explaining why I hate this movie. So, and yeah, hate is a strong word, but I mean it when it comes to this movie. And because of these fucking stupid arguments, the movie itself, and fucking myriad and whole smorgasbord of other fucking issues. I mean, these arguments, to me personally, at least the ones that I've heard lately from fans of Alien 3, and these people do not speak for all the fans of Alien 3. Like I mentioned before, some people like Alien 3 are kind and courteous about it, and their defenses make sense. They like the movie. They think it's thrilling. They think it's suspenseful. They think it's interesting. They like it. But they don't come up with this kind of bullshit. It's better because it doesn't have a sidekick. And Alien sucks. See, that stuff I don't I God, I can't I can't comprehend that shit. And I don't get it. And these arguments, in my opinion, the ones that I've heard lately, suck. They make no sense. And and even David Fincher hates this movie. Even David Fincher, the guy who directed it, hates Alien 3. He said in multiple interviews that Alien 3 is awful. And he said the only way he can make a director's cut is if he started from scratch and started over. So everyone involved with the film, for the most part, Fincher, the producers, the writers, they hate the movie to death, and they don't even want to talk about it most of the time. And the best part about the film is the making of documentary. To me, it was actually interesting and engaging, unlike the film itself. And if you love the movie, fine. But saying it is better than Aliens because you don't like Aliens is proving the point I've always been making about fans of Alien 3 for years. If you love Alien 3, you for the most part don't like Aliens. There might be a few exceptions like I was mentioning, people who like Aliens, but also like Alien 3, but for the most part, most of the people I hear defending Alien 3, saying that it's some underrated masterpiece, are people who don't like Aliens. And that's fine. Hate on Aliens all you want, but it isn't going to make Alien 3 better than Aliens according to the majority of critics and fans alike. And I can hate on Alien 3 all I want. It's not going to make them hate Alien 3 either. But hey, that's cool. It's what makes this world interesting. But if you're going to make arguments in its defense, get some better arguments. Please. I would honestly love to hear them. Because this it's closer in spirit to Alien than Aliens. It was Ripley's story and the sidekicks never work and so on. It's pathetic. And if you are making these arguments, you have a bad case of FOSS, aka full of shit syndrome. So love the movie, hate it like I do, or just think it's okay. But don't say that this was a good sequel, because that is a lie. There is no way that this film could be considered a good sequel, since it seriously hampers the film before it and destroys the entire integrity of the franchise in the process. No good sequel does that. So if you think it is a good film, fine. But it is not a good sequel. And to me, it isn't a good movie either. It isn't even a good way to spend your time. At least not mine. And Alien 3 is so bad that I wouldn't even wipe my ass with it. Both versions, theatrical and assembly cut. Toilet paper has more meaning and importance to me than Alien fucking 3.